What changes in your business when you start to think about surviving instead of thinking about growing? Thing is, most business they don't fail because they grow too slowly. More often, they fail because they grow too fast without safety margin. Just the things. And think about this. When growth becomes your priority, you are going to take risks. You are going to think about a lot of things that you should do. But what I really think is this: it's not that you need to think about one of these two things instead of the other. These two options, they are not enemies. For example, oh, or I would think about growth, or I would think about um, surviving. I believe that we need to think about both things at the same time. But surviving needs to be the priority. It needs to come first. First you think about surviving, and then you will start to think about um, growing. Because when you do that, you realize that you are going to think about growing the right way. Maybe you are going to establish rules for your business. These rules, they may prevent you from growing fast, but you are going to grow in a more sustainable way. You are going to grow in a way that you are going to have more safety. One of the examples that I like to give about the way that I work is this. I work with construction, building houses and warehouses for renting and selling. And one of the things that I like to do to be more safe in my industry is this. I only build the next construction if I have the money to do so. I never finance, I never take loans. And by doing this, it may be it may take longer for me to grow, but it's safer. I'm going to grow in a way that I know that I'm not going to risk failure. Difficult situations may happen, yes. Sometimes I will face hard times. Sometimes I will have to, in many occasions, I had to sell my car to finish a construction. But the thing is, it's not going to affect me in a way that I'm going to risk a complete failure. Because the worst option, it's always to have to start all over again. You start from the beginning, you know. This is the worst option. Another thing is this: to be To tell you the truth, we need to understand something here. I am speaking here for someone who do not want to fool himself, to want to do business and to build something in a way that you are not going to risk everything every year, every time that you are starting a new project. I know that there are different ways of think about the business, how to make business. But in my experience, what really affected me was this. The times that I really face a lot of risk and that I risk losing a lot, these moments they changed me. They were very difficult to face, very difficult to deal for me. So the situation that I am now is that I prioritize safety. To tell you the truth, I need to tell you this. I believe that I value other things besides only work. I value spending time with my daughters, training every day, having breakfast with my daughters every day, pick them at the school and take them to the school. I work a lot. I like to work. I like to build things, to do things. But I am less worried about fancy offices, about rapid expansion status. I'm more concerned about cash flow, margins, liquidity. Because you know something, a company with cash, you know, really with cash, not with cash that you need to pay every month. A company with cash has options. And a company without cash, many moments, it has excuses explaining for you why things went wrong. Um, so we need to work, we need to think about expansion. Yes, but our priority needs to be surviving. But baby, people who think different, they have other priorities. Like I said, maybe they are more concerned about the way that they put themselves in the society, this kind of situation, you know. Now I believe that I'm valuing other things. Each people, we have our way to think about life. For example, the other day I was watching a podcast of a guy who is famous here in Brazil. He's a famous investor. like a Brazilian Warren Buffett. And like Warren Buffett, he lives a simple life. A good life for him, but a simple life. He has everything that he needs. He lives in a good place, but the car that he drives is a simple car. And the place where he has his office is not the fanciest place in Brazil. You know, here we have an avenue that is called Faria Lima. This avenue is a famous avenue here in Brazil, um, that people who run offices that deal with financial market, they have their offices there. And this guy, no, don't. His office is in another part of the town. Actually, as he is very rich, he could do anything that he wants. And these are the two guys who are influencers here in Brazil, also rich guys, but not nearly as rich as this guy that we are talking about. They were analyzing the life of this other guy who is older. He is more than 80 years old. And these other two guys, they are on their 40s, maybe same age as me. And they were saying that if they were him, they would do things in a very different way. They would put money to work for them. They would have airplanes, helicopters, a lot of things. But you know something? This older guy, this Brazilian Warren Buffett, he lives the life that he wants and he does everything that he wants. And the place that he lives, it's a very, very nice place, but not as nice as these other guys imagined that he could live. They imagined that he could live in a place much nicer, like in a tremendous, huge house, something very expensive with a lot of people working there and a lot of things. His car is a 2010, something like that. But he's happy living like this. And I admire guys that have this kind of behavior. So I believe that because of that, I think this way. I like to work. I want to work my entire life. I don't have plans to retirement. I like to work. I like to do what I do, but I want to do it in a way that allows me to do other things too, to live my life. Like I said, to be with my daughters and everything. There are certain moments in life when you look at the place that you are, how far you got, and what you are living right now, and you realize that you need to live those moments. For example, my daughters, they are now 11 and 13 years old. And when I look at them, I realize that I want to be with them in this moment. because I know that maybe 10 years from now, when they are 21 and 23, hopefully, they are going to be living their own lives. They are going to spend time with me, yes, but much less than the time that they want to stay with me today. So I want to live this moment right now. Another thing that we need to think is this: how much money are you going to want to spend in your life? For example, I want to keep working, like I said, the rest of my life because I like to work, because I enjoy doing it. But in reality, the situation that I am today, I already have enough money to keep living the way that I live, which is very comfortable, the rest of my life. So when you think about this, you really need to think about what you value, what you want to do, and everything. So we really need to think about the entire situation. So that's why I believe that we always need to put surviving in our businesses in first place. And we need to think about growing, but growing with the right mind. You know, someone who I admire also, who I think does that does this in the right way, Dave Ramsey, the American entrepreneur. Dave Ramsey. It seems to me that the life that he lives is very balanced. It's just an example. All right, my friends, that is all that I have for you today. Thank you all that are watching, and I see you in the next video.